welcome to Artist Spotlight again. Today we have Nak Young Choi. He is a concept artist and illustrator, among other things. How you doing, Nak?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. Thank you for joining us here on Artist Spotlight, man.
Yeah,
So,
I was born in Seoul, South Korea, and I was raised in Hawaii since I was 8 years old. And now I'm currently in Los Angeles, in California. So I work in TV and film, and I came to California for college. So I went to Cal Arts to study character animation there, and ended up working in animation after that.
what point in your life did you know that you wanted to do animation and the film thing and cartoons, things of that nature?
When I was little, I was very fat. And I didn't speak English at all, so I got bullied a lot. So the only friend I had was just like a Mickey Mouse doll that my parents gave me. And every Saturday morning, I would like hold the Mickey Mouse doll and I'll watch Saturday morning cartoons. And I'll be like, whoa, like I feel like you can do that for a job. So I dreamed about being an animator one day, working at Disney. So that's how it kind of came to be. But I just had these amazing teachers at the University of Hawaii who said, "Hey, Knock, like just go after your dreams." And there was a news article that said like CalArts is one of the best animation school there. And my parents had no money, so I had to like kind of make my own path. And they also don't speak English at all. So I had to figure out the financial aid stuff, applying to college all by myself. Um, and I just kept going and I just reached for the college and I got accepted into it and just that just led me on the journey.
Explain to me exactly a concept artist and what that does.
Yeah, so a concept artist is we create visuals for the ideas. So we help the dreams to come true. So we'll have anywhere from directors, art directors, to executives, to a whole different team. And they'll be like, hey, we want to create this project. We want to create this film. Can we design a character? So concept artist is a character designer and a visual development artist. So we do backgrounds and things like that. Um,
You don't just do the characters, you do the backgrounds and everything. Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So it's like any kind of concept and you make it into art. I use Photoshop, a lot of Adobe. Adobe Premiere is really great. After Effects. Now I'm also getting into VR. VR is changing a lot of the old pipelines they used to have. So before we used to have like a 3D modeler, then you need a rigger, and then you need a writer, lighter, and then render things. Now, when you just use VR, we use Oculus Rift and an app called Quill. You can just quickly create prototypes. One of the main things I hear from like people who's getting into the industry, they're like, oh, like I don't know who to like talk to, or I feel scared and things like that. Start with the people close to you, your teachers, your upperclassmen, people who graduated. Or nowadays, like social media is so crazy where you can just DM anyone. And like from time to time, I get DMs from like people like, hey, like I love your art. I'm in LA. Like, can I like grab coffee with you? I'll be like, yeah, sure. And I grab coffee and then we become friends. And then if there's like job openings, I refer them to them. So there's things that happen. So don't be afraid to just reach out and ask. Yeah. When I fail, I get excited because it means I'm learning. My parents were like, don't ever fail. Like, you have to be like safe, be a doctor, lawyer, and stuff like that. But the more people I studied, the famous people like J.K. Rowling, Oprah Winfrey, they have all failed on an epic scale. But they allow their failure to be their foundation, to be who they are. So now I believe that the word fail, it stands for few attempts in learning. So when you fail, I want us to be excited. It's like, oh man, like I learned something, I gained something. Be present online, brand yourself. Don't be afraid to like DM people, connect with people, send like genuine compliments to people you look up to. Um, like an artist at Disney or Pixar or DreamWorks or any kind of illustrator or like actor, just DM them like, hey, I love your work. Go see their shows. Become part of that. Women in animation, they hold a lot of mixers. They hold a lot of panels. And it's a fantastic way of meeting recruiters there. Go to like the animation expos. You can meet the professional artists there and apply. Just keep applying. And just yeah, patience and gratitude for yourself and for others and for what's to come.
It's working. I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna
Okay,
start calling you
design?
Knock.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. So I love to ask questions. What is design? Design is basically in one word. What is the difference of it? So how big is the difference? Is the arm bigger than the legs or is it smaller
Right.
than the legs? What are the bodies, the colors, the tones, and the lines? Triangle. What kind of feeling do you get from a triangle? So the kids will say, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. I'm like, let's explore that. A triangle in nature, a triangle in our world. A triangle can be dangerous. So we get a lot of villains in the shapes of triangles.
Mm-hmm.
Even the silhouette of this character is a triangle.
Mm-hmm.
So the triangle is all about moo, ho, 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 ho.
Evil,
Oh no,
right.
evil,
Mm-hmm.
something's wrong, it's pointy. But on the flip side, if you were to flip the triangle, we kind of get a different feeling for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Is there like a feeling that you get from upside down triangle? What happens to it? You get superheroes. You get Batman.
That's totally
And this is observed from real life. When you
yeah.
like buff up your chest and you
Right.
like, do this muscle pose, you get this big triangle. So it creates this like a very masculine Falco punch, Hulk smash, hiya, I'll beat you up, like a macho man, macho woman feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Very majestic. But if you narrow that triangle down, again, it becomes very villainous. It becomes quite evil. And this is a villain from Ratatouille. Now let's take a look at a rectangle. What kind of feeling do you get from a square? Blah, blah, blah. They say those things. And let's say a square in our world is like comes from buildings. Our society is built on squares. Our furniture often comes in squares. Our boxes and even robots. Wally comes in a square, but look at his eyes. See how round that is? So we notice how round things are in our main characters. So for Pixar, when they're designing Wall-E, they wanted to create this robotic thing, but they gave it the biggest circle eyes to make sure you love this character.
Right.
So in an animated film, what happens is that you get a script. A script is words of ideas that a director has, and they were like, I think this is what the story is going to be like. Can you design a character? So obviously, when we start designing a character for Disney or Pixar, an animated film, you don't have a version like this. What we start off is something like this. We'd be like, okay, in the story, Carl is someone who's kind of stuck in the past, so he's gonna be mainly a square. Eleanor, his lover, his wife, she was full of love, so she's going to be very circular. Kevin, this is the bird character. They're like, it's gonna be very wild. This Kevin is going to jump around a lot, so it's gonna be a triangle with a lot of edges to kind of show that speed, the dynamic in the design. So isn't it really fascinating and amazing how with using simple shapes, you come up with these really amazing characters.
Yeah.
And just by looking at the character, the silhouette, you're immediately able to tell what this character is all about.
Right.
So let's look at Frozen. Let it go, let it go. What are the main shapes do you see on Anna? So when you look at the hair, you see a circle and then you see a triangle there. But it's kind of like soft triangle, right? So throughout the film, she's a main character and she's all about the action. She has to go here, she has to do this, she has to save her sister. Now let's look at the next character. What is his main shape? If you have a hard time seeing what the main shape is, simply squint and you can kind of see what the biggest shape is.
Yeah.
And when you look at his
Triangle.
chest, it's a square. It's a very squarish face.
Yeah.
It's very blocky, right? Rectangular.
So in the movie, you often see him when Anna's like, "Hey, let's go here. We have to do this." Christopher will be like, "Oh no, that's dangerous. I don't want to go there. Let's not do it." You
Yep.
know, he's stuck where he is. And let's look at this character. What's his main shape? It's a very pointy triangles. So he is quite villainous. He's a villain in the story. He's a bad guy. So how do you design characters? There are three ways, and pretty much just imagine it. Just imagine and daydream what kind of characters you want to create. Is it a fairy? Is it a witch? Is it a wizard? Is it a knight? Is it a lion? Is it an animal? There can be so many different things. And another thing I like to do is I love to pull from life. So for me personally, I have really funny aunties. They're really wild. So when I'm designing a bunny, I'll be like, oh man, like the character, the personality of this bunny is like my auntie, who's very loud and very spontaneous. So when you pull from life, it becomes something from you. So by imagining and pulling from life, you are able to reinvent, create a whole new character that is uniquely yours.
Love that. Thank you so much for having me. You're so fantastic and wishing you the best.
Thank you so much.